At the trial, the Arvizos claimed that they were forced to make this rebuttal video and to say complimentary things about Michael Jackson, and that it was all scripted for them. Many found this difficult to believe, especially after this segment was played.
Wait, you know how these Bashir, you know how Bashir zoomed in on him holding hands? Do that the same thing.
Because
that's what a mother does with a son, or a father does with a son, you know? And they try to make it out to be something wrong and dirty. Put your back straight.
the hand holding thing.
Okay.
How did that make you feel?
Oh, we're on camera?
Yeah.
Oh.
We are?
Yeah, I said rolling.
Oh, God! This is the outtakes of the outtakes.
After viewing it several times, we felt this isn't scripted.
Well, you know, the jury saw that tape, I believe, 5 times. So they had ample ability to decide whether she looked like she was being coerced and whether everything she said was memorized or scripted. And I think the verdict speaks for itself.
Jackson employees related at trial how the Arvizos also became rude to the staff and acted like they were entitled to Michael's wealth.
This family began to come up with these allegations of molestation and conspiracy only when they realized that they were on the way out, that Michael Jackson was sick of them, didn't want to deal with them anymore, didn't want them on his property.
Were the Arvizos skilled manipulators or honest everyday people? Here's one of the tapes where this question came up. This is the video where the sheriffs questioned Gavin about being molested by Michael Jackson.
You can sit right there, buddy. And we are going to try our best to make a case, okay, a criminal case. We're going to try our best. But you need to understand that we're going to need your cooperation. By coming here and talking to us, I want to re-emphasize to you that you guys are doing the right thing.
Was he, moving around a lot? Was he nervous? Was he anxious? And he didn't seem to come across that of someone that had been molested. He just looked like someone that was just having fun, like being at a video arcade or something. He didn't seem nervous at all. And we felt that the police were trying to get him to say things that they wanted him to say so they could have that recorded.
He said that you boys have to masturbate, because if we don't, we could go crazy.
Just something to drink, okay, buddy? Where are those drinks at?
Trial witnesses testified that they found Gavin and his brother masturbating to porno when Michael wasn't on the premises. Also, records show that earlier, Gavin said that his grandmother told him the story that if you don't masturbate, you go crazy. But with the sheriffs, he seemed to substitute Michael for the author of the story.
Michael Jackson has done wrong. Michael Jackson has done wrong to you and to your mother, and his friends that work for him, or his employees, have done wrong.
After you've been through hell.
Exactly. And for him to be giving you alcohol, also knowing your condition. Did Michael Jackson know your condition? And did he know that he was supposed to give you alcohol? Okay.
Excellent job.
At the trial, it came out that the Arvizos were badgering a number of celebrities for money and attention.
Chris Tucker had interacted with this family on numerous occasions. He felt they took him for a ride. Jay Leno was interviewed by the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department and secretly recorded by the sheriffs. He didn't know he was being recorded. And he told them words to the effect that this family had contacted him, that the 13-year-old accuser had tried repeatedly to get through to him, and that finally he had a conversation with him. He said that the 13-year-old sounded, overly rehearsed, sounded scripted. There seemed to be a woman in the background, directing what he said. And he got a bad feeling about what this young man was saying to him. And he thought they wanted money, although they didn't actually ask for it. And after that conversation, he told the staff not to let them put any calls through to him again, that he didn't have a good feeling about.
We thought, here's another one. They're trying to lure him in and suck him in like they did Michael Jackson.
The Arvizos consulted Larry Feldman, the same attorney that won the reported $20 million settlement from Michael Jackson to young Jordy Chandler in 1993. The Arvizos met with the attorney, Larry Feldman, who earns a percentage of whatever his clients make. He sent them to the same psychologist he used for the Jordy Chandler case, and shortly thereafter, the psychologist and Feldman reported to the Santa Barbara District Attorney's Office that Gavin Arvizo claimed Michael Jackson had molested him on multiple occasions. It just so happens that the Santa Barbara District Attorney, Thomas Snedden, had been hoping for years to find somebody to level child molestation charges against Michael Jackson. Here's Snedden at the Neverland Sheriff's raid.
I'll just stay here. I just want to find out these here.
Mesereau was asked if he thought Snedden had a vendetta against Jackson.
Do I personally think he had a vendetta against him? I absolutely do. Why else would you devote all that time and energy to trying to convict one person?
The jurors saw footage like this scene where sheriffs would round a corner ready to draw their guns. I guess on a potential child molester, or maybe they were expecting to find a cowering Michael Jackson.
Sheriff's Department.
I've never seen a case where 70-plus sheriffs show up to raid someone's home like this. I think they wanted to create the impression that Michael Jackson was a dangerous person. And everybody wanted to be part of the Michael Jackson investigation and ultimately the Michael Jackson case. They wanted to create the biggest case in the history of the world, and everybody was just mesmerized by being part of this unusual event, and it was very, very disturbing.
And I felt he was a very vindictive person.
Were the sheriffs looking for the truth, or as some said, were their investigations just one-sided? When the Arvizos believed they had some success with their stories, they became even more bold with their accusations. They claimed Michael Jackson held them captive at Neverland. However, during the time they were supposedly held captive, trial records show that Janet Arvizo took regular trips on Michael's tab to local beauty salons for full body waxes and other amenities.
What she should have probably done, let's call the police, and there's all these phones in the area. We could go have access to any phone we want and call somebody to come and get us, call the sheriff's department. But instead she goes to Solvang, gets her legs waxed, and the kids are running all over the place, wrecking the vehicles.
Where were they when I couldn't feed my children, when I had to share a box of cereal? Where were they when my children and I would weep? Where were they when my children and I were lonely? Where were they when I didn't have enough money to pay for my bus fare to get my son to the doctors? Where were they when I had to walk about 3 hours to get to the doctors for my children? And now all of a sudden they're caring and concerned because Michael Jackson is involved, the very same man who cares about me and my 3 kids, to make sure that their past is erased and that all they can count is a future full of happiness, joy, and safety. Where are those people when I needed him, when I needed them? And now Michael is there for us, there for all 3 of them.
Every time she would bring up something like that or snap her fingers, she would look at me or the female Hispanic juror that was on there, and then she would say, you know how our culture is. Well, I'm thinking, no, that's not how our culture is, you know, so you're way off base, sweetheart.
Resources. Witnesses at the trial reported that they thought the family started conspiring to take advantage of Michael and his generosity. At first glance, the Arvizos seemed like well-intentioned, kind, fun people who had grown up in difficult circumstances in East L.A. and that they deserved the help they got. However, it came out at trial that the Arvizos were not as innocent as they first appeared. Trial testimony revealed that a couple years earlier, before his cancer diagnosis, Gavin was arrested for shoplifting at a J.C. Penney on an outing with his family. When a security guard confronted him in the parking lot, they got into an altercation, and Janet Arvizo was arrested. Some weeks later, Janet Arvizo sued J.C. Penney, claiming she was sexually molested by the J.C. Penney security guards. She said they twisted her nipple up to 25 times and beat her, and she offered these photos as proof. J.C. Penney settled out of court for $152,000.
During deliberations, some of the female jurors brought that up when we were talking about it. They said, now, as a female, if somebody pinched me on my breast, I don't think I'd remember that he pinched me 25 times, maybe 30 times, maybe 6 times. What's the difference? You know, if somebody was doing this to you, you wouldn't remember that. Your thoughts would be maybe to get out of there, get away from there.
Well, there's no question that 2 young boys lied under oath to support their mother's claim that she'd been sexually abused by J.C. Penney guards. But there are many other things that we brought forward. She was arrested brought to the police station, we obtained the booking information where she said she didn't have any need for medical attention, didn't have any injuries. We also obtained the booking photos where you didn't see a bruise on her body or a hair out of place. Subsequently, her lawyer filed a lawsuit against JCPenney and with photographs showing bruises all over her body.